Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host this evening, Matt High. Got Joe Capozzi down below and Chris Felice next to me. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Doing fantastic. Ready for this mock draft.
Yeah, it's our draft is coming up this Sunday, so this will be good practice for that.
So basically what you're saying is I shouldn't give away all of my picks then if I get this.
No, do. Please
spot.
Do. I already know your terrible picks.
We already had our fun our guillotine league draft, which was for those of you who do not know what that is, it's a ton of fun. It's very frustrating because the draft takes a while because it's a 17-team league. So, you know, you're talking ADP doesn't matter at all. You're just trying to pick a guy you want when it comes to you have multiple, way more picks in between you than the other guys. So it's a lot of fun. We just completed that. Rosters are very, very shallow because there's a lot of players. But tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to do a 12-team half PPR mock draft. It's going to be our final mock draft before the season starts next Thursday. So roster construction is going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex, and 6 bench spots. So we're omitting kickers and defenses, but in your draft, just pick someone who has a good week 1, maybe week 2 schedule. Defenses are kind of a dime a dozen usually, unless you get like the rare Patriots of 2020, I think it was, or 2019, and just pick a random guy. You'll be fine. Put your thoughts into other places. Yeah. So without further ado, let's get this thing rolling here. I'm going to add our draft room. We're going to do this on Sleeper, which is always my preferred.
Bring back
Joe
mascots.
I know. I wish. Yeah. Leave a comment below if you think Sleeper should bring back mascots, and we can send this to them and say there's a need. Let's go. Joe is drafting from the 4 slot. I am drafting from the 7, and Chris is at the 11 slot. So let's just get this thing going. All right, Christian McCaffrey off the board. Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb. Joe, you have a decision to make.
So ADP says Justin Jefferson, but so I have Justin Jefferson here, Jamar Chase. With Justin Jefferson, with Sam Darnold at cornerback, I'm sure he'll do just fine. But for my first round pick, I think I'm going to go down a little bit. Jamar Chase has those contract negotiations, and he's day-to-day, right, with an injury, I believe. Day-to-day.
I don't think it's an injury. I think it's
an injury. I think it's just contract.
It's an injury.
I know they said injury day-to-day, so that's what we'll call it day-to-day. So I'm going to go Bijan here.
Ooh, I like it. Now, I don't know if you watched last night's show, but we actually went over the wide receivers, and Justin Jefferson, I don't know if you're going to think this is bold, but I'm making him a bust for 2024 at the wide receiver 3 ADP. What are your thoughts on that while I mull over who I'm going to select?
I don't think he'll be a bust, but I don't think he's going to, for where his ADP is, I don't think fantasy owners can expect him to consistently be there with Sam Darnold at cornerback. If Kirk was still there, I'd say sure, but we haven't seen Sam Darnold in a bit, so I don't know. I was excited for him when the rookie was still starting. I'm drawing a blank.
JJ McCarthy.
When JJ was there, I was excited for him. Now, a little less excited for him. So I wouldn't say bust I'd say bust for the ADP, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's he'll be fine, but he's not going to be. I don't think he's going to be a top 3 wide receiver. I don't even think he's going to be top 5. I think there's just it's 100% Sam Darnold. It's not him. He's great at football, but Sam Darnold kind of sort of sucks. Sorry, but I'm here at the 107. You know, we had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson after that, so I'm actually going to go I can go running back and play my hero RB strategy, which I do really like. But I also think there's a couple guys I might be able to get later that are I might be okay more with a wide receiver now. So I'm going to take my guy, well, Chris's guy, his number one wide receiver on the 2024 season. I'm going to take Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown here and see what comes back to me.
It's a good
So,
choice. Ooh.
yeah, it's an excellent choice. Thank you.
Ooh.
So Brees Hall goes, AJ Brown, who I was also considering there, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, Chris is up on the clock. You got a couple running backs and some wide receivers.
There's only one choice. There's only one choice. For those of you that watched the running back show, you know who this is. The one, the only. Jonathan Taylor is my pick. No need to justify it. And I'm back again, mind you, which means I get to choose again. We had Garrett Wilson go at the 12, and on the crack back at the 2.1, we had Kyron Williams, famous punt returner of LA Rams. Everyone's favorite. God forbid for the injury, all Kyron Williams owners. I wish you the best of luck.
I am not. No, everyone here knows I love Kyron Williams. I think it's going to be great. First pick of the second round, that might be a little bit too rich for me. I'm looking. If he was going to be someone I was looking at for my pick. If he made it to the mid-second round, that would have been auto pick for me. First pick of the second round, that's a little bit risky. I will admit that. I love Kyron Williams, but that's a little bit risky.
2.1 for a punt returner. It's crazy.
Damn.
We'll see.
Blake Corum's a backup.
So I'm at an impasse right now. Usually, how I draft is I will take. I usually take a combination of running back and wide receiver, either first round or second round, whatever. It doesn't usually matter. That's how I usually do it. However, I have the opportunity to really solidify my running back room with Saquon Barkley on the field here, which is I feel like a very solid pick, personally. Or I could take the Marvin Harrison Jr. route or Puka Nacua, and then go from there. I do like Travis Etienne, but I just know that Saquon Barkley is better. So it's between Saquon, Marvin Harrison, and Puka Nacua. And I'm honestly at a bit of an impasse on who to take. So give me 2 seconds. Let me do this.
Taking here. Everybody knows who you're taking.
You know who I'm taking? Wait.
I feel like Kyron Williams is
We're back to Kyron Williams.
He's your new Antonio Gibson, Matt. You were super high on Antonio Gibson, and I was super high on Brian Robinson
This is
Jr.
So funny. I'm going to make my pick now.
I think this is the same scenario. Okay.
I'm going to make my pick now. I'm going to throw some logic out the window here. I think, in my opinion. Now, all of you are assuming I'm going to pick Puka Nacua, which I actually thought I was also going to end up picking, but I didn't think Saquon was going to get back to me, and I'm going to take a little unconventional, but he's just that good. I'm going to solidify the RB room with Saquon Barkley and kind of fill up my wide receivers later on.
Oh, man. I thought Harrison might
really
have
wanted Chris Olave, didn't you?
No. Chris Olave is another one of the guys I really liked. It's just I hate Derek Carr so much.
Derek Carr, he
says. To take him. I think he could be good, but I just something about I think he's gone a little bit too early, and Derek Carr just plain sucks. Mm-hmm. So here I am. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown at wide receiver and a couple here. Travis Etienne, I'm a little bit lower on. I'm a little nervous about his workload, and I think the Jaguars are going to be a little bit more pass heavy this season with the weapons they brought in. So I do think that Travis Etienne is not going to be scoring 2 touchdowns a game for a long time. That's kind of what carried his fantasy production early in the season, then kind of trailed off. Derrick Henry, who another one I'm kind of high on just because the offense he's in, another aging running back that could break fantasy, but is he going to come out and show his age? I don't know. So I'm kind of in between two guys here. Drake London, who I think has the opportunity to break out in a big, big way this year on the Atlanta Falcons. And I'm debating on taking Devon Achane, who's someone I have been very low on based on just he's a little bit smaller but at the same time, sometimes you got to throw that out the window and just be like, all right, that dude can play ball, and there's outliers all over the place, and he could very well be one. But because we're in a half PPR league, I'm going to lean a little bit more towards the targets, and I'm going to go Drake London. So Devon Achane went right after me. Travis Etienne and Joe is back on the clock.
Well, you kind of said it yourself. I'm a big fan of taking RBs early this year. Just because I'm just a big fan of, I think, the wide receiver class on a lot of or not the class, but the wide receivers in this draft this year. Teams have so much depth and talent there that I'm just going to slam Derrick Henry and finish up my running backs.
So Bijan and Derrick Henry, that's a pretty powerful duo you got there.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
And then on the wraparound, my boy, Mr. Mike Evans.
Evans,
you got your hero.
We're
Nice.
cooking.
We're there. All right. So after Joe's pick of Derrick Henry, we had Josh Jacobs. Josh Allen's the first quarterback off the board of the 211. Then Brandon Ayuk, which could change a little bit.
Can I interrupt you, Matt? And I think we're all three of us are kind of in agreement that we all suggest that you do not take early quarterbacks this year. There's so much talent at quarterback. You can get a really good, even decent one later in the draft. Please try to take your skill position players.
I am warning you. I am literally warning you. If you take your quarterback within the first 3 rounds, there is a 70% chance you are going to lose your league because you would rather have the skill position player than the quarterback.
I did it last year.
I am telling you to do, like, it has worked for me numerous times. Please listen to me. Please listen to all of us. Don't do that to yourself.
The hardest part is if you look at the past 2 years, if you did not have Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts, you were suffering the entire time. So that's what we're in that mode now. And I think we're right. You're right, Joe. This is not the year to take a quarterback early. There are so many guys later in your draft. You can get Kyler Murray, who I love. I like Anthony Richardson, but he's going a little bit too early. Like I'm looking at around the sixth and later, between the 6th and the 8th. That's like the sweet spot for where I'm liking it. You can get Jaden Daniels in the 12th round. Like they're littered with guys who have immense upside. So I agree. Don't take an early quarterback.
Looking at ADP for 2024, you can even get like Lamar in the 4th round, CJ Stroud in the 5th round. Same with Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow in the 6th, Kyler and Jordan Love in the 7th. Like there's such good quarterbacks you can get later. You don't need to spend these like 2nd round pick on Josh Allen or 3rd round pick on Patrick Mahomes. That's just what I want to tell all the listeners that might be new to fantasy. Please try to wait.
Yeah. And if someone does draft an early quarterback, you just say thank you and take the best player available. So now that we had our little tangent, but it was a good one. Very, very insightful. Devontae Adams begins the 3rd round. Deebo Samuel, Travis Kelce. Joe selected his hero, Mike Evans. Isaiah Pacheco, Nico Collins, and up here at 307. This is where I have to take my hero now in Mr. Jalen Waddle. I'm kind of realizing I'm punting the running back position, but I have to stick on brand. I love Jalen Waddle this year. I think he's being undervalued by most people, and I'm not going to let him go to another team. Following my pick was Sam Laporta, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Hurts, and now Chris is up on the clock.
And you'll notice that there are 2 quarterbacks right now, Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. I will not be picking either of them. Rashad White, I really, really like. I do like him a lot. However,
it's your hero, boy.
He is. but I have to look at my team. I literally have 2 running backs already. Now, I am aware that this guy next to me might pick Mahomes or Jackson, but he also might pick Rashad White. I'm sorry, or my guy I want on the crackback here. So I'm going to pick DJ Moore as the starting wide receiver there on the Chicago, someone who I value much higher than most of the guys on the show here. I need that insurance here. And with that being said, this guy next to me,
your guy.
Lamar Jackson and DK Metcalf are taken off the board. So now, yeah, you're right. I have the opportunity to pick my guy. Now, there's a lot of issues with picking my guy right now. Once again, I bring up the issue. I've already solidified my running back core, which usually, like I said, I usually never do this in the first 2 rounds. I just feel like I can't I usually don't get the opportunity to pick Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. I usually might be another option or something else happens. But no, in this scenario, I had to take those 2. So I do really, really, really want to take Rashad White. I really do. But at the same time, that's not. I don't want to have one starting wide receiver because I can look down at who my options are going to be a little later on, and I'm not a huge fan of my next go around of guys, just in general, to be quite honest with you. So I think I'm going to make an educated move, an unfortunate educated move, I should say. I'm going to reach a tiny bit into my pocket and go into Michael Pittman. Sorry, my receiver for the Colts. You can take my guy, though.
I thought you were going with Cooper Kupp.
See, I considered Cooper Kupp. The reason why I didn't do that is because I know Pittman's going to be the guy there. Cooper Kupp will have to share time with Puka Nacua, and I think I'd rather prioritize the absolute rather than the question mark that I have. That's the only reason why. I obviously think that Cooper Kupp is a better player than Pittman, but I can't argue too much there. But hey, you can take my guy now.
I was thinking about it, and I've been kind of cooling on Rashad White a little bit. Not gonna lie, I was really hoping that James Cook was going to fall to me at the 407 or the 46 because he would have been already on my team, and we would have been talking about Joe's next pick. But now I have decisions to make. I do not have a running back. I started with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, and Jalen Waddle. So I can go a couple different ways. I have Rich's hero, Malik Neighbors, who I really, really want to see, and I would like to have shares of this season. I think this is a little early right now, just based on the situation around him. So I can either grab a running back and Rashad White. You know I'm out on Joe Mixon. I don't have to go through that again. Ken Walker is the starting running back on the Seattle Seahawks, but I'm going to take another guy that I've talked about a lot and someone who I think is going to be awesome this year. And I'm going to take Trey McBride, and I'm going to start with no running backs through the first 4 rounds and see what happens. Now, this could be a big mistake because the running backs
real zero RB strategy here.
Yes, we're gonna test it. We're gonna test it. That's why we do mocks.
Sure. That's fair.
So CJ Stroud went next, then Ken Walker, and what are you thinking, Joe? Are you taking tight end yet? Are you looking?
No. The top tight end is Mark Andrews, who has not practiced since his car accident, which is concerning to me. Even though they said it was minor, I'd like to at least see him practicing. So that scares me a little bit. Kincaid's there, who's also one of my other favorite tight ends. But I mean, I still have a wide receiver slot and a flex spot. I have Rashad White still here, which is kind of crazy to me.
Is that nuts?
In the 4th round. Neighbors is there, who, as Matt said, the situation's not great for him, but he still is quite arguably the only target there in New York. So that should equal some good fantasy points, and he looked pretty decent, but I'm going to not let him fall anymore. I'm going to smash White here. I know I have Evans already, but he's just too good not to take. How are they going to do this to me?
Neighbors is great.
Oh no, there's Zay Flowers. Oh no, the best wide receiver on the board is T. Higgins.
Alvin Kamara is here. and I love him this year, but I already have 3 running backs.
You got bye weeks.
I do have bye weeks. I can't do. I really need to start solidifying other positions.
This is why we do mock drafts, so you can see. Okay, maybe I should have taken a different guy there. This is a learning experience for everybody. This is why you should mock multiple times. Don't just go in blind. It's not going to work out.
I'm kind of thinking Kincaid. As much as I like, I think he's like, it's tough. I'm between that and a wide receiver. I don't like Tank Dell. I don't know who's going to be the wide receiver one there. T. Higgins is good, especially if Jamar Chase.
What was that?
T. Higgins is good. I never said T. Higgins was not
I'm
good.
I'm clipping that.
I said he is injury prone. I said he is injury prone.
I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny.
Just because you said that, I'm taking George Pickens.
Oh,
me and Matt were in agreement. We were both super low on George Pickens. I've become a believer. I've been watching him in preseason. I'm excited for him and Russell Wilson. I think he's going to have a good season this year. And take it from an ex-hater. I didn't think he separated well. I didn't think he was the best. He had good hands, but the lack of separation scared me. I think he's going to do well this year.
It's been a fun ride because I mean, you and me were both like, I remember one of our league mates, Marcin, was like, "Oh, but he makes such great throws," and we're both like, "Yeah, because he has to, otherwise he's not catching the ball." But this year he does. He is set up in a good spot. I mean, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields is another one that's a little bit weird, but I think just being the guy. I mean, this could all go out the window. We could get notification tomorrow morning that, hey, Brandon Ayuk is joining the Pittsburgh Steelers, and then George Pickens shares go right down. But so Dalton Kincaid went after that, Mark Andrews after that. So I am here. I can take my first running back. And despite me despising Derek Carr, I'm going to take Alvin Kamara because if there's one thing Derek Carr can do better than most, it is to throw 2 yards down the field to the guy right next to him. So I'm going to select Alvin Kamara and hope I get a bunch of targets. And clearly, Kendre Miller is nobody, and he's never going to see the field because Dennis Allen drove a bus over him and then put it in drive and drove over him again. So Alvin Kamara, I think he's about as safe of a running back pick you can get this late in the 5th round. So Tank Dell went after that, Ramondre Stevenson, David Montgomery, and Chris, you're back up at the 5'11".
All right. So I'm gonna go. I usually
quarterback, right? Or tight end? I know you're a onesie person this early, right?
Absolutely not. Nope. Richardson is there. We're definitely not taking him because he's a quarterback. Kittle is there. Not taking him. He's a tight end, right? We're going how Chris would draft here, right? Which means we're looking at either wide receiver or running back range. I got 2 right in front of me. I got T. Higgins or James Conner. Now, I'm not like the biggest fan of either of these 2 players. However, the Jamar Chase news is very spicy. And because of this, I do like funny games of T. Higgins, just in case Jamar Chase misses some time. So we'll take this opportunity.
Well, as Joe said, T. Higgins is good.
T. Higgins is, in fact, good. We love to hear. So I'm back here again.
I never said he wasn't good. I said he's injury prone. There's difference.
It's fine.
Anthony Richardson was good. He's just injury prone.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
I think T. Higgins is actually going to have a sneaky season, a sneaky good season this year.
I hope so. I just drafted.
I think this is going to be one of the years where there's always going to be that trade potential. Franchise tag. He signs it, trade him before it becomes an issue. But I think this could be a year where we finally get peak T. Higgins. All the pieces are on the Bengals minus Joe Mixon for obvious reasons. And now we have the whole gang together and they get to do great things.
Alrighty. So I'm at this position here where I'm at a bit of an impasse at the current moment. So the reason why I'm at a bit of an impasse is because of who I have currently and my options right now. So I James Conner is currently the pick, right? He's the highest ranked player here. He's a running back because I'm definitely not taking Kittle, Pitts, Richardson, or Burrow. That's not happening. The next guy I would even like the next two guys I would consider are Kirk and McLaurin. Um, but I have to look at my bye weeks now. Saquon Barkley being the earliest at week 5. James Conner at week 11, so that could serve as a replacement. I'm looking a bit into my future here to figure out what options I'm going to have later on, because I'm not the highest on James Conner. However, I think I can afford it to a certain extent because I think there's enough stuff later on that if this doesn't pan out, I'm another pick later with like some like a Gus Edwards, a Zach Moss, or something to that nature, who's really in the draft could easily come into this spot where I need him as my flex or backup running back. So I'll take James Conner here, hoping that just withstands the test of time.
Yeah, I mean, also with your team, I don't think you need him to. You just need him to
I need him for a
be
bye
there
week.
for the
That's
first
it.
little bit. Yeah. So
Exactly.
I think that's good. George Kittle went after that. Kyle Pitts at the 604, then Anthony Richardson. This is the furthest I've actually seen Richardson fall. Usually he's in like towards the end of this fifth round, mid to end of the fifth round. So getting him there, that makes it a little bit better value for me. It's a little bit less risk. So I'm here. I'm looking ADP right now: Joe Burrow, Christian Kirk, Terry McLaurin, who I think now that Jahan Dotson was shipped to Philadelphia, I think he'd be a great pick here. Um, I'm not going to play any games. There's one player I really want, and he's definitely not going to make it back to me. And I don't think he would make it back. He'd probably be selected by my cohort, Mr. Joe Capozzi. So I'm going to take him here so I don't have to worry about it. I'm going to pair my Trey McBride pick with my hero quarterback, Kyler Murray. I think that's good value for someone I think could very easily be a top 5 fantasy quarterback this season.
Well,
Would you have taken Kyler
not-
if he fell to you there?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm looking at what's available, and I'm very confused on what I want to do here because there's a running back that I'm actually excited for the season, but I have 3 running backs, so it really doesn't make sense for my team.
I
Christian
know you
Kirk
really
is
like Tony
there.
Pollard.
Yeah, definitely.
Pollard's the guy, bro.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, Jerry.
So I'm thinking wide receiver here because Evan Ingram's the top tight end. There's another tight end that I think I can get a little later in the draft, so I think I'm going to wait on that. Adunze's here, who looks good, but there's a lot of talent on the Bears depth chart, so that scares me a little bit. Reed's here, and Xavier Worthy. You know what? I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to reach a little bit, and I'm going to grab Xavier Worthy.
Oh,
Not a bad pick. Real quick before we get to your next selection here, as far as the tight ends, if you're getting, where do you put the tier break? Like, what player do you put it on? Is that Ingram? Is that Don Kincaid? Like, where are you comfortable? Where you're just like, if I don't get one of those guys, I'm just gonna wait until like one of the last rounds.
Mine is Kyle Pitts. Like so, Kelsey, Kincaid, Andrews, McBride, Laporta, Kittle, Kyle Pitts. Those are like the top tier ones that I would take earlier, and then after those, like they kind of fall for me a little bit. But it's gonna kind of bring me to my next pick because I think he is a sleeper tight end this year, and I'm gonna grab Brock Bowers. I think he's gonna be the number 2 target behind Devontae, and I think he's gonna have a really good season. And he's kind of being slept on just because of the quarterback situation. But don't get me wrong, Minshew can sling it. Okay.
Yes, he
I'll
can. Minshew
I'll
mania.
I'll answer your question before you recap what had happened before. My cutoff I think is Kincaid, and I say that with like really big quotes because I have like no intention of ever drafting a title like that. They would have to fall pretty far, I think, in order for me to like draft them. If I'm being completely honest with you, I no, everyone knows I'm not a fan of drafting them early. It's just too volatile of a position. Um, like right here, I think where he went in this draft at 5.5 is somewhat reasonable, and I would consider it to an extent, depending on where I had everything going with the rest of my draft. But at the current moment, uh, yeah, I would say Kincaid is my cutoff.
Gotcha. All right, so I have more decisions to make. So now that I have two onesie positions inside the top 6 rounds, I have one running back and 3 wide receivers. So there's a lot of wide receivers here I like, though. Like, there's a lot of guys I want to take a shot on. So I'm debating on punting running back a little bit further, and yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go crazy. I'm gonna have some fun here. Jaden Reed is gonna be my pick because I want a piece of this Packers offense, and I think Jaden Reed is going to be the wide receiver 1 on that team. Uh, Jordan Love looked like he stepped into pretty big role last year and did well with it. So I'm going to take a shot. Jaden Reed, welcome to Colorblind Army. Following that pick is Zach Moss, Tony Pollard, Chris Godwin, and you're back up, Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a fan of the selection of players I have right now. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not too excited. So I think because of this, yes, I don't like Ridley. I don't like Rice. Rice is a little weird to me because he kind of falls in the same situation as the Houston stuff going on, were the Hollywood Brown as well as Rasheed Rice, like just 3 guys who might end up being the guy. And while Patrick Mahomes is definitely like fantastic, I don't want to get in the middle of this like crossfire between who's going to be wide receiver 1 that week or not. So I think I'm going to avoid that. I don't like Addison, not because I think he's bad, but if I can avoid taking a wide receiver 2, I think I will. We don't like Ferguson. He's a tight end. Nick Chubb, pup guy. We don't like him. Njoku, once again, questionable. So I think I'm going to take a guy here who is the only other logical choice. That's
You're
the
taking
one.
Laddie?
Yeah, the man, the myth, legend, Ladd McConkey.
Laddie. There you go, Laddie.
And now that I'm here, I get to make another really, really fun pick. My guy, the hero, supreme, Lord of the Panthers, Jonathan Brooks, who's on PUP right now, who I hope will play eventually at the end of the season and win me the league. That's the plan.
Hopefully. I like that strategy. Pup was always the expectation, so this is nothing new. Like if anyone is like, "Oh my god, he's on Pup," he was going to be on Pup when he got drafted, so that was kind of always the same expectation. So after that was Calvin Ridley, Rasheed Rice, and Nick Chubb. Do you guys think Nick Chubb plays this season? I think the
Yes.
I mean, he's on Pup. I don't think we're going to see him until like mid-November.
I have a feeling he'll play. I don't think he'll. I think he will surprise people by how good he actually will be coming off of when he comes back to the field. However, I don't think he's ever going to reach those heights again. I feel like his ADP is like probably right where around it should be to an extent. I mean, you are taking a risk of him not playing at all, of course. However, I truthfully think he'll be back. I think he'll take over as the number 1 at some point. We've seen plenty of players at this point. Science is crazy. Come back from ACL injuries, right? So, truthfully, I think he'll be back.
All right, so I'm going to make a selection here. I'm going to pick Jalen Warren of the Pittsburgh Steelers because I think, he's going to be the backup to Najee Harris, but I think he will be mainly in the role of the third down running back and quick short gains. So I think the way my team is right now, I'm trying to stack targets for running backs now that I don't have a guy that's going to get a ton of volume. I just need to get a guy that's going to get a couple PPR points. So Jaylen Warren for me. Welcome to the team. Then we got Javonte Williams, Hollywood Brown. Joe, you're back up on the clock. Are you thinking quarterback here at all, or are you gonna just punt that?
I think I'm just punting it right now. There's guys I can get later in the draft that I'd be perfectly okay with being my quarterback. So I think I'm going to just build some depth at my skill positions. I'm going to take the number one running back on the team. I'm going to take Devin Singletary. There's really not much competition there for him. And even though I don't think he's the best running back in the league, he's going to get majority of the touches. So I'm excited for that. And it's going to come back to me. We got Deontay Johnson and Joku Eckler. Not excited. I don't like that Eckler's going before Brian Robinson, but maybe that's just me. Keon Coleman, Brian Robinson, and then Hopkins. And me. So my top two quarterbacks are Brock Purdy and Caleb. Big fans of both of them. Wide receivers, I got Christian Watson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Gus Edwards, Brian Thomas. I love all these picks. Like, I'd be happy with any of these picks on my team. I have how many running? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs, 3 wide receivers. So I think I'm leaning wide receiver. I think I'm between Watson and Njigba. They're both really good.
I know which one I would pick, but it might not be with my head. It's with my heart.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Njigba.
That would have been my selection, obviously, for anyone that's wondering. Caleb Williams went after that, Dallas Goedert, and I'm up on the clock. And because of the strategy I took in this draft, I'm going to be looking at the running back position. And even though I really, really, really want Brian Thomas Jr., because I think he's going to be a stud this season, I am going to be forced to take Gus Edwards because I just need to stack up on running backs now. But I mean, I would prefer to have all the wide receivers I currently have over Brian Thomas Jr. So it's not like I'm too upset. It's just this would have been a good time. I think that's good value. But Gus Edwards, and then Brian Thomas Jr. goes after that. Jerome Ford, Brock Purdy.
So
what are we thinking, Chris?
I have a moment here. I can do my best to try and find the line at the current moment by trying to guess where everyone else is going. As I'm looking through the rest of the draft right now to figure out what I want exactly. So currently, I have a couple options here. My team right now, it's looking pretty good. I like where everything is. I like who I have at the current moment. In terms of my skill players, there are some shaky-ish areas, but I'm okay with that. That's okay because I have other areas that are just fantastic, and I don't have to care about that. We play the game. So I'm gonna go with I guess a tiny bit of a reach here. I'm going to pick Trey Benson as my insurance for James Conner. I'm usually not a huge fan of this to a certain extent, but at this ADP, while I could get Christian Watson, of course, I'm definitely not taking Tyjae Spears, and I'm now definitely not taking Ezekiel Elliott now with Dalvin Cook on that team. So I feel like this is definitely the way to go. So I'm going to take Trey Benson here.
Yeah, there's only really, I think, 2 teams I'm willing to take the running back handcuff for, and that would be the Rams, so Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, and James Conner and Trey Benson. I don't think I'm really interested in the other ones. Do you guys have any other teams that you would target the handcuff running back for, or no?
I don't think so. No, not personally.
I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some. But I'd have to look at them all on paper to think of one.
So what are you thinking here now, Chris?
Yeah, so now's the time. We're here. I've made it. I've been rewarded my faith of taking all of the skill players possible, and now I finally get to choose my quarterback, Jared Goff of the Detroit Lions. That's who we're going with.
As soon as you picked Trey Benson and I saw Tua go, I was like, yep, I know this pick. So after Jared Goff, it was Tajay Spears, Blake Corum, and Ezekiel Elliott. I'm at the point where I can I should probably get another running back just to kind of bolster, these running backs I have on my team outside of Alvin Kamara are going to be guys that go in and out week in, week out. I don't know which one. I'm not going to have any allegiance to any of these guys. Hopefully one of them hits pretty good and I can, flip them plus one of the wide receivers I have for maybe a stud running back after the first couple of weeks of the season. But for now, I'm going to take another shot on a team that I think should be pretty good and has a void at the running back position after the previous one was traded to the Houston Texans. And I'm going to take Chase Brown. I'm going to put my chips in on him being the best running back on this team ahead of Zach Moss. So Chase Brown. Following that was Jameson Williams and Cortland Sutton. Wow, how the mighty have fallen. Remember when he was like a 4th or 5th round pick?
I do.
And now everyone's like,
really,
I don't want him. You take him. I don't want him. You take him.
I think it's time. I'm going to take my shot. I'm going to grab Jaden Daniels here.
Ooh. Quarterback solidify in round 10.
He could, he's got the rushing upside. If you take Jaden Daniels, are you looking at another quarterback just in case? Are you drafting a quarterback? Okay.
Yes, I'm going to definitely be drafting another quarterback. I think I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm looking at the quarterback list. There's a couple guys I'd be happy with my backup as, so I'm going to grab Khalil Shakir.
Nice. That's a good pick. I like that a lot.
I love that pick. He's like an auto pick. Anywhere outside like the 10th round, if you're in the 10th round and you see him there, just pick him. Just pick him. So, all right. So I'm back up on the clock. We had Zach Charbonnet and Adonai Mitchell went before me. So I'm looking, I should probably look at just now it's at the point where I'm just getting best player available. So according to ADP, Pat Fryermuth, Trevor Lawrence, Cole Kmet, not really looking at quarterback since I have Kyler, and I'm not looking at tight end because I have Trey McBride. So I'm going to go into the season with only one of each position, and I'll figure it out later. I'm actually going to take. This is tough. I'm between two guys. One has the starting job, and the other one I think has a starting job, but it might not have the goal line role. But I think the offense is going to be a lot better. So I'm actually going to take this guy. So I'm going to take Mr. Rico Dowdle on the Dallas Cowboys because I think Zeke is toast, ate too much soup, and he's only back because they messed up in the draft and didn't get the deals.
What about Dalvin Cook?
I don't think that matters. I also think Dalvin Cook is toast. I said it last year.
Okay.
I think Dalvin.
He did.
At what point do we look at these aging running backs and go, yeah, they're just a guy? Like, yeah, they were great. Zeke, top running back for years. Dalvin Cook, top running back for years. At what point do they go the way of Todd Gurley? And we're like, yeah, maybe they burn too bright too fast. So, Rico Dowdle. That's my pick.
And now I get to play
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, Pat Fryermuth, and Cole Kmet. What game are you playing?
Not the game I wanted. There was something I actually wanted to have happened that did not happen at all in the slightest. So now I have to kind of compromise here with my decisions, which once again is my bad entirely. So I'm going to take Chuba Hubbard as my insurance for Jonathan Brooks.
That's who I was in between. I was going back and forth between Rico and Chuba.
So at this point, I'm in a horrible position in terms of the tight end. It's not something I care about too much. Most of them are not great. Most of them are not going to be scoring me a bunch anyway. So I couldn't really care less. To an extent, so I don't mean to like be the Debbie Downer of the universe right now, but that's just kind of how I feel. But I do feel somewhat obligated to take one anyway, just because who knows what might get sniped. So I'll take the shot on Ben Sinnott and go with this kind of rookie power here. I mean, I already got a couple rookies on my team anyway, so might as well keep the train going. So yeah, that'll be my pick right now. Bit of a reach, but that's fine with me. I don't need anything else on my team.
Well, you got one more selection after this, so you got to think of something.
That's true.
So we got Jerry Jeudy, Jacoby Myers, and Xavier Legette, who is an intriguing pick in the 12th round. I would take the shot. So I'm looking, and I see a couple guys here I'm interested in. Josh Palmer, who I think should be a pretty solid option for the season. I don't think he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on the team. That's kind of Lad McConkey for me, but it's also at the point where we're late. If he doesn't work out, I'll drop him after week 1. So I also have Rashid Shaheed, who I think is decent, but again, tied to Derek Carr. It's not fun for me. Gabe Davis, Brandon Cooks. So I'm just going to take Josh Palmer and hope that he has enough rapport with Justin Herbert and can just continue doing what he has done in the past when either Mike Williams or Keenan Allen has missed some time and, got an increase in workload and go from there. Following that pick was Aaron Rodgers and Rashid Shaheed.
So right here, I was hoping he was going to fall to me. I'm going to grab Mr. Kirk as my backup to Jaden in case he doesn't do well his rookie year or he gets injured. Very happy with Kirk being my starter. Jalen Wright goes, followed by Chandler, Cooks, Tyler Algier, Miller, and then Matt Stafford. Back to me. I see Richie's hero, Dontavian Wicks, down there.
Candleman.
Yeah, but I'm going to take someone that I'm very excited for later in drafts as well, and that's Jalen Polk. I think he's going to be the number 1 target over there, and to get him in round 13 cost me almost nothing to take a chance on.
Oh yeah, it's once you hit round like 11, you're just looking for upside.
Yeah.
Can this guy have a pulse so I can either use him or trade him? So I'm looking. There's a couple guys here I'm not really too keen on. I'm just trying to find potential value. And there's one guy here I think does have upside. He is a rookie that I'm willing to take in the last round of this draft. And I'm going to take Troy Franklin on the Denver Broncos. He goes to a team, gets drafted to the Broncos, who just announced Bo Nix as their starter. That is his college quarterback. They did great things in Oregon. So I'm going to pick Troy Franklin. And again, another shot in the dark. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, drop him week 1, get some guy off waivers that I need for when one of my guys gets injured, because I feel the injury bug a brewing. So that completes my team. Chris, you're at your last pick.
Yeah,
you can't take the candle, man. So
you're right. I cannot, and I have no intention of doing that anyway. This one doesn't really matter too much to me. I'm just gonna take some insurance. So I'm taking Josh Downs, as my guy for the somewhat insurance of Michael Pittman.
Taysom Hill was Mr. Irrelevant in this draft. That is so fitting. For those of you who have been with the show for any bit of time, Taysom Hill is kind of a hero for us. It's one of the jokes we have. He always is just on top of it, and it's
Annoying.
fun playing him. It's super annoying, super annoying. But yeah, so that is it. Draft is over. So why don't you guys recap your teams and what do you think? Are there any picks you guys made that you wish you had back or you wish you did differently? So Joe, why don't you run down your team first?
Sure. So my quarterback is Jaden Daniels. Running backs are Bijan Robinson, Derrick Henry. My wide receivers are Mike Evans and George Pickens. Tight end is Brock Bowers. And my flex, I have Rashad White. You want me to do the bench spots too, or?
Yeah, do the bench. Yeah.
My bench, I got Xavier Worthy. I got Devin Singletary, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Khalil Shakir, Kirk Cousins, and Jalen Polk.
Any picks you wish you had back? You wish you did differently, or you liking this team?
The White pick, maybe, but otherwise, nah. He fell so late. I had to take him. I like the team.
Nice. All right. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, so I have JT as my first, Saquon Barkley, DJ Moore, Michael Pittman. That's my core four. Then I got T. Higgins, James Conner, Ladd McConkey, Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, Jared Goff, Chuba Hubbard, Ben Sinnott, and then Joshua Downs. Overall, a pretty solid team. I like it a lot. In terms of anything that I would take back, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think so. I think I like where I stand here. I think I did the best with what I kind of had to cook with. So yeah, I think I'm going to hold here. I think I like my position.
Nice. So my team is I have Kyler Murray at the helm, Alvin Kamara, Jalen Warren at running back, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Trey McBride, Jalen Waddle, Jaden Reed, Gus Edwards, Chase Brown, Rico Dowdle, Josh Palmer, and Troy Franklin. I'm kind of in the same boat. I didn't think once I started going down the path of zero RB, I didn't know how it was going to come out, if there was going to be guys that later in the draft that I'd be okay with, but I actually kind of like it. I think I have enough targets on my team that will keep me competitive and give me somewhat of a safe floor week in, week out. But I also have some upside picks that could hit. So I actually really like this team a lot more than I thought I was going to. So it was a little scary in the beginning, but I like how it turned out. So yeah. So those are I like all of our teams actually. I think these were I'm really surprised that you guys went with back-to-back running backs at the top, because I know that's not something I feel like
I'm
either one
also
of you
surprised I
picked
did
up.
that. I'm also surprised that you're not wrong. I am.
But hey, it worked out. So, all right. Well, that is going to do it for us tonight. So stay tuned. We are going to be doing a couple fun things coming up soon. So we're going to have our draft. As for those of you that listened to last night's episode about the wide receivers, we're doing that this Sunday on September 1st. So we're going to try to put something together for you. We'll get some footage, if anything, and post that out. We'll have some fun with it. Check out our YouTube at youtube.com/@theheroesff. You can follow us on Twitter, X, at the Heroes FF, TikTok at the Heroes of Fantasy, and follow us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher. We're everywhere. So, all right, gentlemen, that's it. Let's get ready for football season next week. Let's have some fun. So long, everybody.
See you around.
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Heroes of Fantasy Football podcast. Follow us on Twitter at the Heroes FF.